What's going on, guys? Today we are talking about Beast Mode and how he probably, or could have, I guess I should say, cost G2 roughly like $1.5 million by not attending EWC. So before we begin about why that could have been the cost, and also to argue against that, and games matter or whatever, let's hear from Beast Mode on why he didn't attend, and then we'll get into the nitty gritty on prize pool and all of that.
And it's like a 20-hour travel day, and I have no one to. My family can't go because of financial problems, because they're already going to Worlds for 2 weeks with me, and it's just gonna be a lot of traveling, and I don't want to do all of it by myself.
So, 20-hour travel day for a lot of money when it's your job. There's probably more to the story behind the scenes that obviously Beast Mode does not want to share. I get it. To me, just hearing those words, a 19-year-old traveling for a good sum of money when it's your job, it feels like there has to be more to the story than there is, because that's a lot of money. You're letting down your team, you're letting down your org, and it could be rough. It's one of those things of maybe it's the privilege of being best player in the world right now, that he's able to do that. But if you're third best on a team and you pulled something like that and your team does not do well there, it's not going to look good on you either way. It might look good because you weren't there and the team did worse. But I would, if I was a club owner, I'd be like, all right, I'm getting rid of this kid. He does not care enough for the game to make it worthwhile. Now, obviously, that is a different case from Beast Mode. He's one of the best players in the world, probably the best player in the world right now. Puts G2 at the top, which leads into how much prize money could they have lost because Beast Mode did not attend. Now, before we get into this, obviously, G2 is not a guaranteed win, right? We all know that going into any Rocket League tournament. The best team in the world is not guaranteed to win. Very likely they don't win. But let's just assume for the prize money differential that with Beast Mode, I think G2 probably would have had a very good shot, especially the way they played here. So if we look at some numbers here, first off, let's look at the normal prize pool. Beast Mode won this tournament last year. It was Gamers 8. It was a little bit different. He won MVP as well. Very likely, if G2 wins this tournament, very likely MVP is going to Beast Mode. We'll talk about the Joreous MVP in a future video. I think they got that one wrong, but that's just me. And also the insane amount of prize money for it is just absurd. But we'll do that in the next video, probably for a Monday release or so. But in terms of prize money, $40K for finishing top 4, which I think was actually a pretty good result for G2. G2 had a little bit of a Mickey bracket, but they earned their Mickey bracket by taking out the eventual tournament winners, BDS, in the upper bracket. So they got the Chiefs, where they just kind of, just took them down. Chiefs scored 2 goals in that entire thing. The G2 defense showing up. Nas, obviously, was the player that came in for G2, if you did not know, if you did not watch. And he performed pretty well. You got to give credit to the whole team. The coach as well. My boy, Sathu, you got to give him credit for getting this team into a top 4 position, when also they have to prep for the World Championship, right? World Championship's coming up in 2 weeks. So yeah, but for Beast Mode, just I didn't feel like traveling for 20 hours. I feel like there has to be more to the story, because if it's just that, it's really? For this amount of money? For this alone, if G2 would have won, again, that's not a guarantee. Look at that difference, 40K to 200K, plus the $50,000 MVP, because very likely, obviously it didn't happen here, but I'm just going to assume if G2 won, Beast Mode's probably getting MVP, right? Again, this is a lot of assuming. We all know what that means. So take that as a rule. So 250K versus 40K. That's a $210,000 difference, which is a decent amount of money. But that's not maybe the more important thing. I would say probably the more important thing, at least for the club, for the person that employs Beast Mode, is the EWC Club Championship. This prize pool actually was relatively small for most of the EWC tournaments. But the EWC Club Championship was where the real money was. So let's take a look at that. I believe this is this one. Yes. So as you can see here, basically there was, I think, if I remember correctly, 21 games, 22 tournaments where you get placement points in order to be eligible for this club championship, right? You basically had to finish with at least 2 top 8s to be eligible to be on this prize money graphic. If you won an event, then you had the eligibility to win first. Falcons ran away with it. We'll go over those numbers in a moment. But as you can see here, G2 finished with 450K for the club itself based on their results throughout this tournament. Now, the EWC Club Championship is based on points, based on placement in your tournaments. Placements are very lopsided, as you can see. First gets 1,000 points, and this is for most games, and this includes Rocket League. First is 1,000 points, then 600 for a grand finals appearance, which is already a big gap, but then you barely get anything. 275, so that is 725 point differential from the 3rd and 4th place finish to a 1st. And honestly, G2 was probably in danger of finishing what I consider is what I thought they would finish is a quarterfinal exit. But they obviously performed very well. So I was wrong there. So that could have been even more, 940 point difference. So 725 points. Let's see how far G2 would have climbed based on that 9th place finish versus like if they would have got those points if they won. Again, I'm assuming a lot here, but I kind of want to just make a point of why this is so important for G2 and why I bet they desperately wanted Beast Mode to attend. So let's take a look. Here's your final rankings, and this includes all games. I think you can see them all. You can. Okay. So G2 was at 1150. So remember, 725 more points would have been 1875. That would have moved them up past Vitality, but you got to keep in mind that would have also moved them up ahead of BDS because BDS won the Rocket League tournament, so they wouldn't have had those 1,000 points. They would have finished in 3rd place, say they won this Rocket League tournament. Again, it might not have happened, but G2, like I would consider, even going into the World Championship, the #1 power ranked team in the world, probably the best team in the world. So let's just say that happened, right? Let's go back to the prize money. $2 million for BDS. BDS actually got that $2 million off just 2 games. Rainbow Six and Rocket League. We finally agreed on something. That BDS is the best team in the world, right? They won both those events, so they got the 2,000 points. BDS getting 3rd place, absolutely huge for the org, for the club, whatever you want to call them. But $2 million versus $450,000. That is $1.55 million. That is a decent amount of money for the org that I would assume that G2 probably not too happy that Beastmode didn't attend, right? They were like, hey, we're really fighting for a top 3 spot, maybe even top 2 based on their other games that they had that day or that week. They didn't fare well in those, but they knew that they could climb these leaderboards because these points all incredibly close from all these teams. If they would have finished in the quarterfinals, they actually wouldn't have dropped pretty much anywhere because any team that has a black outline like this were not eligible because they didn't have 2 top 8 teams. So they would have actually only dropped 1 spot. The Freaks would have moved up ahead of them, and they would have only dropped 1 spot. So it wouldn't have really changed all that much here. They would have lost 100K compared to the 1.55 million. So if you take that 1.55 million on top of that, the 210,000 potentially, you're looking at $1.76 million that Beast Mode could have cost from Boston, cost the entire org or the team, right? So, like, if I'm a G2 like owner, I'm not happy. I'm definitely not happy that Beast Mode didn't attend. I'm very happy on how my team performed in Rocket League, but to not attend, at least based on the Twitch clips of I just didn't want to travel for 20 hours. Like, so what do you guys think? Throw it in the comments below. There's got to be more, right? That there's got to be more. We'll probably never hear of it. You know, whatever. Beast Mode obviously getting ready for the World Championship. We'll see how G2 fares there. But potentially Beast Mode cost G2 a lot of money. I wonder if that plays any factors into the offseason. I assume not, because again, you have the luxury of being one of the best in the world, if not the best in the world in Beast Mode. But if it wasn't Beast Mode, like honestly, I would not be thrilled. I would not be thrilled at all. But that's going to do it for this video. Let me know in the comments below how you feel about it. And yeah, we'll talk about the MVP monetary gains of Jorius in my next video. Bye-bye.